Hi, I'm Barry Sahagian, and this tutorial is about one of the better techniques I ever learned that has more than one use and works for both hands. I got this technique from my book I wrote in 1981, Progressive Bass Technique, Examples 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, the exercises was on one string, and I went up chromatically from the lowest part of the string, which is the open note, to the highest part, in this case, the G. I know not all basses go up to the double octave, but this one does, and that's what we'll base the lesson on. I know you might have a Fender or something that goes up to E flat or something. Anyhow, so you do all the strings the same way, and there's a reason I would do this, and that gives you another benefit learning this exercise. But let me go up the next string. So I took 3 camera angles here, and one of the important things about technique is that a lot of people focus on what's happening up front, but a lot of the technique happens from behind. And I put a camera behind me right there, you can see it, to show you what's happening with the thumb. Like when I teach, one of the first things I do when I teach about technique is I hand somebody a book. Like, say, here we go, here's a book right here. I hand it to them and I say, grab this book, you know what I mean? And so they grab it, and they have to use their thumb, you know what I'm saying, to grasp it. You couldn't do it without the thumb. And this is my concept on technique. You have to hold the neck with the thumb and the fingers. So kind of, it's like this here, and that promotes great technique. I've seen many players, they hold their hand oval like this, and they play incredible stuff in one type of style. But I think if you want to get the fullest part of the technique, you really have to use your thumb against the middle of the neck, kind of, to press down and grasp it like I showed you when you grasp a book that's handed to you. So okay. So one great thing about this technique is, and I still use it to this day, is say you're looking for a bass guitar, or a guitar for that matter, if any guitarists are listening to this. Now, I've had many problems with buying instruments that buzz, and recently I bought about 5 instruments, and I bought them online, and I didn't have a chance to see them or play them at the store. And half of them buzzed in the middle of the neck or something, and I knew a buzz is very difficult to fix because it could be a number of things: the neck, the frets, the position of the height of the strings, and you try to fix these things. I bought these things and I tried to fix them, and I started to lose my mind, and I said, get this thing back to the company and I'll buy another one. Finally, when I bought this bass, for example, I went to the store and I played several basses, and if they buzzed or weren't right, I had this wonderful clerk, and it was a woman, and I was surprised how informed she was about adjusting the neck. And I would just say, I don't like this, I don't like that, and she'd go back, give me a minute, and she'd go and she'd fix all of these things. I was impressed. I bought this one, and I love it, and it's perfect, because okay, the reason I wanted to talk about this is, in the first place, is this exercise, right, or whatever you want to call it, is great. You want to buy a bass, so what you do? Here's what I do. I want to know from this all the way from the open note to the double octave, I want to know that everything is in good order, intonation, and no buzzing of the neck. So I take the bass and I simply do this. You know, when you're doing this on the E string, it gets a little difficult because you can't wrap your thumb around, and it's typical of an upright player. They don't put their thumb behind the neck when they get way up high. They kind of hold a position like this, and I kind of when I'm going up the neck all the way, I switch from doing sort of like the upright position to holding your thumb behind the neck. I prefer the thumb behind the neck because you can grasp a little better. So we'll go. I'm checking my bass out. No buzzes. That's how I'm checking this instrument out before I buy it. You know, I don't want to buy the bass and then find out later when I go up here to play that it buzzes or it's out of tune or has problems up there. So I'm at the store and this is what I'm doing. It's not only about being at the store checking out your bass, it's being able to feel what the bass feels like at the top of the neck, because the frets are smaller up here than they are down there, so it's different. And if you constantly play in this position only, which a lot of beginners start out at, and then when you go up here, it's like strange territory. You have to use a different style of fingering to accommodate these smaller frets and everything. So it's a good idea to understand what's happening here as well as what's happening here, and to be able to feel and adjust to it. So that's what this is about. So not only that, a chromatic line is a great thing because it happens everywhere. And in this exercise is you're getting to use all four fingers as well as right hand picking. I stick to thumb, index exclusively. And I feel that that's one of the ways to develop a better technique. Now I know there's a lot of other players around, they use three fingers, I love all the techniques, but a basic plucking style is to use index finger and middle finger back and forth. So when you go play something like that, you're not going to get in trouble. Part of the problem using this concept is, when you're crossing over the strings, you might just kind of use a sweeping action and just go from one string to the other with one finger, and that's okay too. But I kind of, for myself, I discipline myself to not do that, just to always have plucking one after the other. And at times you can use the sweeping action for my concept, but I like to, if I could just always do index, middle, and I even went further out now. I would play exercises and make sure that and then I started with my index finger. Then I try and do the same exercise with my middle finger. I know that's a little OCD, but that's how I operated for a long time, And it helped me develop a technique where I could get everything, really in sync. So anyway, this is my concept using this line, and I hope you learned something. And I ask you might please subscribe and hit the bell to get notified of new videos. and keep playing, and see you next time.